G'day, emotional scenes today as Pierre Gasly and a whole lot of F1 people paid their respects to Anthoine Hubert, who died in a crash here in Spa in 2019. I was here in 2019 when Anthoine Hubert died in an F2 crash at the top of Raidillon. Today, the F1 community remembered him with a run from the start-finishing line up to that spot. Pierre Gasly was one of the first to arrive at a spot that had been previously marked. I'm not sure by who. I went up earlier in the day to try and identify it and couldn't. But after Pierre placed a bouquet of flowers, a number of other people came forward. James Lloyd, one of the Alpine press officers, he placed a bouquet of flowers along with Alexa Quinton, who is the Director of Comms for F2 and F3. It was an emotional scene, as it is every year. Pierre is often the first driver to head up there and pay his respects. And with him were some 100 others, all wearing a T-shirt dedicated to Antoine, who raced under the number 19. Esteban Ocon was there, Zhou Guanyu was there, and in past years I remember F1 actually leaving those flowers there for the entire weekend. I'll be interested to see if they once again do that. But I do hark back to that day in 2019. I was sitting in the media centre and editing pictures, and then suddenly there was a big gasp from the entire media contingent, and everybody's attention was then focused on the screens. It was a few hours after that I actually left the track, and we had to take a media bus, and we could actually see that site up the hill from the route that we took. And I'll always remember all the flashing lights. And the next morning there was a huge parade of service vehicles heading past that spot, and a very quiet crowd in early for the day just paying their respects. Motorsport is a dangerous pursuit, and F1, 2 and 3 certainly have seen some deaths at the tracks over the years. But with the addition of new safety measures, let's hope this is a thing of the past. Now on to other events at the track. Carlos Sainz, I witnessed something quite heartwarming today. He was on his way to a seat fitting. This youngster wanted a photo with him, which he gladly obliged. And as the young fella went to walk away, Carlos grabbed his attention and then grabbed his Red Bull hat and placed his Ferrari hat on his head, which I thought was a lovely touch. He went to walk away, and then he actually turned around and gave the Red Bull hat back to the youngster, who was enamoured by all this. And that's something we don't see very often at the track, because normally the drivers are surrounded by too many people to have time for a moment such as I witnessed. The arrival of Lewis Hamilton in the paddock is always eagerly awaited, just to see what he's wearing most of the time, and today he had an outfit from a Japanese designer. But there was a fellow who wanted a photo signed by Lewis, and as Lewis got halfway towards the Mercedes suite, this gentleman pulled out this picture and said, "Can I sign it?" And Lewis says, "I can't sign that," and kept walking. And afterwards I went over and said, "What picture wouldn't he sign?" And he showed me this picture here, which was one of his pictures. He was a media photographer here at the track. Well, I posted that picture online. My God, it had more than 30,000 likes and plenty of comments, some lambasting Lewis for not signing it, most saying why was the media person asking for a signature. So it certainly divided the audience, and not something I would typically suggest is a good thing to do if you're a photographer on the first day of your time at the track, to ask for a picture to be signed. It was a nice picture, but I'm not sure whether that's a policy for drivers not to sign pictures where they crash. But certainly that didn't end up today. And coming up shortly, I'll do a video on how to actually get stuff signed by drivers, because there is a right way and there is a less than right way. Well, still on the subject of Lewis, he actually did a ride around the track. And as he rode past me, he said, "I don't do this very often, or it's been a long time since I've done one." And I have to agree. But nice to see him out on the bike, also riding the track. Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz setting a fairly fast pace, and they did at least 2 laps. I think Valtteri probably did 1 or 2 more than Carlos. Let's get on to this picture. Waffles in the paddock. This is Ollie Biermann enjoying a waffle along with Isaac Hadjar, both F2 drivers. And where did they get this waffle from? Well, there's 2 places providing us with waffles. This place on the ground level, but this was the more preferred option. And get this, the Apex crew had actually paid for this. They've stumped up to buy waffles for everybody in the paddock. Now, the Apex crew, of course, is the fictitious 11th team in the new F1 movie, and they were out filming on track today, and they had 4 cars. I was impressed when I saw 3 last race, and one of them is electric, which makes very easy movement in the paddock. And was Brad Pitt there? I didn't see Brad, but I saw his co-star Damson Idris in his full race kit, not working at this time, he's just going for a wander. He too had a waffle provided by the Apex van. Oh, did Yuki have a waffle? I hear some of you cry. Well, I don't know. Certainly he didn't have one when he came in, But then again, it's quite a walk up to the top level of the paddock in Spa, because it is the only... Is it the only one? Yeah. The only paddock where the action takes place on two completely different levels. I mentioned Ollie Biermann earlier on eating a waffle. Well, I can tell you, Ollie today signed 250 prints of this picture, which I took of him driving his, well, it wasn't his, it was Carlos's Ferrari back in Saudi Arabia. If you click on the link in the description, you can head to the website, my website, and purchase one of these, and part proceeds will be donated to the Motor Neuron Disease Association. Funny though, we had a test print where I just test the pens, and then Ollie had a bit of a test as well, so it's got, as you can see, lots of signatures on it. And one of Ollie's crew thought that was just Christmas, so he ended up snaffling that one. This is how George Russell arrived into the paddock today with running shorts on, which I thought was a bit odd. I had a chat with him, and he did mention that he went down to the gym right behind where I'm staying here at De La Source in the morning for a run, but the machine kept breaking. So he was left with no alternative but to go for a run around the track. And that's why he ended up in the paddock with these Puma running shorts on. Here's another fella I spotted today, Pietro Fittipaldi, and I did love having a chat with him because I don't know whether you've seen the crash that happened in IndyCar. This is it. And Pietro was the second last car to be launched over Paddock's car. Of course, Paddock is a reserve driver for McLaren, but it was a pretty frightening accident. I asked Pietro whether he had any injuries from that, and he said nothing. Walked away from it fine. Paddock, on the other hand, posted this on his Instagram page after the accident. Of course, Pietro would have been hoping to land a seat at Haas, but he's now no chance at that because today it was announced that Esteban Ocon will be moving to Haas in 2025. I can assure you Esteban was in a very good mood yesterday and today. In fact, in a video I've got coming up next week, you'll see him out at the airport at Liège, signing and posing for every single fan that was out there. Now, did you know that Ted Kravitz has a fan club? A number of you, I'm sure, know who Ted Kravitz is. He does the Ted's Notebook on Sky Sports. But today I ran into these people who were very proud followers of the great man. I asked them whether Ted knew they existed, and they said no. But they will once I show him these pictures in the paddock tomorrow. Have you ever played Connect 4? A fun game. I had a game today with the people from the circuit who were doing a little video promotion. They were trying to get drivers to play. How many did they get? I saw lots of the drivers turn them down. However, I did see Sergio Perez stop for them, and he had the time of his life. Only took about 45 seconds, I figure, but good on him for having a go, and not often do we see Sergio in such high spirits. And who was the other driver to take them on in the challenge? It was Lando Norris. Late in the afternoon, I happened to notice one of the Williams hospitality crew heading out with a plate of food, so I had a chat with this young lady, and she mentioned there was steak and chips for Logan Sargeant. I thought, chips for an F1 driver, a nice treat. And in fact, I caught Logan coming back with the plate open, going back to eat it in the Williams hospitality suite. Now, while we're on the subject of hospitality suites, I'm delighted to tell you that the McLaren suite has its roof on. It's a brand new roof. Of course, it ended up being damaged in the storm that happened last week. Where were we? In Budapest. But the company that makes that particular hospitality suite managed to knock up a new one in about a week. But even bigger news on the hospitality suite front was this magnificent new suite for Alpine. I hear this is worth 15 to 20 million something. Let's say it's US dollars, which would be the least of the three major currencies. But it is darn impressive. There was a function tonight to show it around. I couldn't get up there. It'll be officially launched in Monza. It's designed by Philip Stark and seats about 180 people and is very much in the style of a ski chalet. This is the new gold standard for hospitality suites. The other one was 19 years old and apparently leaked occasionally. And finally tonight, I had to laugh at these signs that you pass when you enter the track here. They're not traditional, boring, do not do this. There's a bit of fun in it, including this, no dogs. Well, Roscoe accepted. What about Leo? Surely he's allowed in too. Well, it was an entertaining day at one of the world's great motorsport circuits. Now, before you go, please subscribe. Half of you aren't subscribed, so a simple click on the subscribe button will sort that out. And the other half of you can head to kimelman.com and make sure you get one of those rare signed prints from Ollie Biermann driving a Ferrari. It's my first ever Ferrari signed print. And for a whole lot of other stuff, that's where you need to go. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate.